Hi guys, and welcome to episode 12 of SEO Tales. And again, you have the famous duo, Itamar Blower and myself, Craig Campbell. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about algorithm updates, the scary thing that everyone always talks about. And always, it's always an ongoing debate as to what goes on with these algorithm updates. Before we dive in, just to be clear, we do not claim to know the ins and outs of the algorithm updates. No one ever gets that information. It all comes down to reading between the lines, trying and testing different stuff, and using data that you have access to try and figure out and reverse engineer what the hell that update was about, and obviously keep on top of it and ask your peers and read forums and try and get a good grasp on what's working now, rather than trying to figure out exactly what Google are doing or might do or what they might do in the future. So, Itamar, you have been in this industry long enough to have probably seen a fair few of the updates. What is your take? Because you've obviously, I know you're freelance now, but you've had previous experience working in an agency, and I've not had an agency for a good number of years now. What's it like in an agency? What do you guys do when an update happens? What's your process like? Do you just shit your pants and start panicking, or what goes on?
I think, well, first and foremost, I think it really depends on what the update is that we're talking about. So, back when I was in agency side, there were obviously Medic update was one of the kind of biggest ones that hit the Your Money, Your Life sites. And rightfully so, I think. But in terms of the clients that we had at the time, all we pretty much would do is, if we kind of figure out that there is an algorithm update, we'll just take a look, we'll just monitor how their rankings are doing, do some checks on the content, seeing is there anything here that Google would have a reason to either penalize or just not be a fan or want to push it down in rankings. But I think generally speaking, algorithm updates are there from Google's side just to help them produce better results for users, right? It's not, they don't produce algorithm updates for SEOs to kind of do something about. We just take that update and the things that it's doing, and then we just try and track it, and like you said, try things out, make sure we know what is working now. But I think algorithm updates in general, people have such a fear of algorithm updates. They hear algorithm. I don't know what is worse, if you tell somebody there's been an algorithm update or say the words PBN to someone. I don't know what kind of word gets a more serious shocked reaction. But yeah. I mean, with algorithm updates, why do people get so caught up in saying, oh, Google's done this update, it's ruined my site, I've gone down, all my rankings have gone down? But the thing that people forget is that for you to go down, it means that somebody has gone up and taken your spot and replaced you. So, I just want to right off the bat kind of say that, it's not Google's fault, right? Don't blame Google for doing something. If your website goes down, it means that you're clearly not doing something right and somebody else is doing something better than you are. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I mean, what would your kind of processes be if you kind of figured out there was an algorithm update? What would be some of the things that you do with your clients?
I mean, what happens is, the first thing that happens if an algorithm update happens, the phone rings. What the fuck? What's going on? What's this update? Start panicking. 9 times out of 10, if I go after an update and check the analytics, and providing you've got everything tracked properly, and you check the e-commerce functionality, and check sales, you see that sales 9 times out of 10 are not that hugely impacted. But clients hear the word update and just instantly shit themselves and think the world's going to cave in. Now, obviously, some people, I've had plenty of guys that I've spoke to, in the last month or so after the May update, and guys have seen a 50% decrease in traffic and things like that. And obviously that was a link update, and people just not building enough good quality relevant links. And I think pretty much what you're saying is, if you're going to become lazy and not tick all of the right boxes with Google, you're going to suffer more when an algorithm update happens. Now, if you're doing good technical, your site loads fast, you've got unique content, you're regularly producing content, you've got videos, you've got good time on website, and everything's performing well, and you're doing good quality relevant link building, that non-spammy stuff and all that stuff, you're not going to be penalized by Google. Google are cleaning up the shit that's out there, whether that be duplicate content, whether that be spammy links, whether that be irrelevant links, whatever it may be. Google have to flush out the garbage because of the sheer volume of pages, blog posts, and God knows what else is being posted on a daily basis. Google have to return what they perceive to be the best 10 results in their organic search. And what way are they going to do that? They have to look to quality. They have to look at engagement metrics. They have to look at speed. They have to look at design, potentially, whether it performs well on a mobile device, and stuff like that as well as the kind of relevance and quality of backlinks. Duplicate content, they can't afford to have that ranking, So you're always, the guys that are always complaining are always probably playing the pushy game, I would call it, in the SEO world, where they want things to happen quick. I've got websites that have taken 4 years to make good money and stuff like that. You get clients in the door and they're saying, well, if I don't see results in 3 months, you're fired. And you're like, what the fuck, dude? That? How does that work? We might spend the first 3 months just creating some content for you because that's all your budget allows. So I think algorithm updates are not there to penalise SEOs or keep them on their toes or anything. It's obviously to clean up the web, and depends on your processes and your strategies and what you do. Everyone always tries to cut a corner here, there, and everywhere. Whether it be your content writer, maybe just getting sloppy and copying and pasting bits of content, that's something you, as the agency or the website owner or whatever, has to manage. You have to have a process to check that shit, run it through Copyscape and all that stuff, because if a penalty comes along and you're penalised for having shite content, you can't go back to the freelancer that you used for the last 2 years and blame them, because what they were doing was working at the time. It's your job to keep on top of that. And I think there is a whole lot of panic and misinformation gets flung about out there as well, and Google obviously play up on that as well. They want to scare people into doing the right thing and all that as well. But I've never in my life seen a site tank that hasn't that has been doing the right things and doing. Listen, we all know links work, we all know good content works and all that stuff, but how many websites actually do everything properly? They don't. They're either heavy in links, heavy in content because they're scared of links, or heavy in technical in content, again scared of links. So that is the problem you've got. No one's doing a great job overall, on a massive scale. The guys that always stay near the top are the guys that are ticking more boxes than you. And obviously, once they've got that engagement rate, because they are in the top slots, again, that all helps keep them there organically. So it's hard to sometimes shake some of those big dogs off. But again, it's one of those things. If you want the £1 million bounty that's at the top of your niche's SERP, and it might be 10 million, it might be 20 million, I'm just saying $1 million for an example, then you've got to be prepared to get the gloves off and go deep and fight for it properly and tick more boxes than just slapping out a bit of content here and there. I think that for me is what a lot of people do.
Yeah, that some really good points there. And also I feel like the people who dig deep too much into algorithm updates will end up just falling behind even more in some cases, because updates happen all the time. Like they happen hundreds and possibly thousands of times, like every single year, because from Google side, it's all the machine learning. It's how they're adapting to queries to understand the intent behind queries, understanding which pages are better to display for certain queries. And also, I feel like in the near future, it's more based around how users are behaving, the user experience, the performance of the pages. And that's the whole Core Web Vitals announcement that was here like last week or a couple of weeks ago. And all that kind of stuff is just saying to people, like, maybe they want people to change their kind of focus. I don't know, like Google, I feel like a lot of it's quite psychological, because they'll come up with something, but then it's down to us to kind of decrypt what they're saying and give meaning to it. So, for example, if they're saying that now page performance from 2021 is going to be a ranking factor, it's going to be important, is that meant to say that a lot of people might change their focus? They might change their focus from link building to making sure that their pages load very quickly, or making sure that, you know, the CLS and all the other bits in Core Web Vitals are optimized correctly. So what do you think, based on these announcements and how people are reacting and how they should react to them, maybe?
I mean, I think you've obviously got to embrace change. You know, if Google are going to be looking at other things as a ranking factor, it doesn't mean that links are going to become any less important. They may just take into consideration some of the other stuff. And would it make sense for Google to lay more weight on that stuff? Of course it would. You know, that is what determines a good website from a bad website, some of those signals. And I think if you're not doing that and you're not trying it and you're not playing around with it, then, you know, you're probably not doing your job properly. You know, even, you know, for the last 4 or 5 years, people have been playing around with click-through rate manipulation, for example. You know, starting to think about user engagement signals and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I think things like that will be weighted more in the future. It can't just continue to be weighted on links. You know, we're kind of exhausting. You know, people are having to become really creative and just lie through their teeth now to get good quality links. You know, we all know that you know, high profile links, you know, on PR and in magazines and all that is the King Kong of links. Not some people don't have the budget to it. Some people will trick and lie their way to it. But even that kind of stuff's gamified. So Google have to look to other things that are maybe less open to you know, the kind of gamification, if you like, because Google can obviously find click-through rate bots and all that kind of stuff as well. And you know, I think they're just becoming more clever, and you've got to adapt your approach. And listen, years ago, it used to be a case of sticking out a bit of content and slapping a few spammy links on there, job done. And, you know, we have come a long way since then, where there's more relevancy, there's, you know, you're taking into account your site design and silo structure and all these other little bits and bobs. And again, I just see in the future, it's just going to be more of the same. The job is getting more difficult. People are doing more on their websites as well. So that means that you're going to have to tick more of those boxes to beat the competition. And as I say, if Google tomorrow say, listen, guys, you have to, you know, focus more on this, that, or the next thing, I'm pretty sure, you know, Google do it all the time and mislead people just so that they don't get their algorithm you know, ripped to shreds, so to speak. You know, imagine you saying there, we have to decrypt the information that we're given by Google. Imagine you didn't have to do that, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry just knew what was the case. You know, what would it be like then? So I think using a bit of common sense, trying and testing different stuff is still the key to where the winners are going to be. You know, because there's a lot of people out there who go, oh, you know, that didn't work, and they just forget about it, and that's it. And that's kind of guys Google don't want ranking websites, guys with that kind of shit loser mentality.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's, even if you do get decreased rankings and you do see that you've been hit by an update, that doesn't mean that, you know, your site is terrible, it doesn't mean that you can't improve it. And unfortunately, a lot of people who do get hit by updates, they sometimes they just give up because they're like, well, I'm losing traffic, I'm losing this. Like, there's no point. I'll go and move on to something else. But there's plenty of cases where people who have been hit by certain updates and they found that their traffic has gone down, their rankings have gone down, but they do manage to go back up because it's just showing that there are things that you need to fix. And obviously taking a look at the competition, always kind of seeing who is ranking at the top, seeing what they're doing, trying to kind of reverse engineer the things that they've implemented so that you can use that on your site. And I don't know if that sounds like too simple, but generally speaking, like that's the first thing you should do, right? If you want to be ranking at the top for anything, check who's already there and figure out what it is they're doing. Because, if you just go in blind, you might miss loads of really important details and things that you do need to include within your site, within your content to get it to rank higher.
I think what you said there, I think part of the problem with this whole world is people overcomplicate it. It really is that simple. There is no... this game is not rocket science as such. You can go out there and read or listen to experienced people who, like Bill Slawski, who's all over the patents. You can take snippets from him and various other people to figure out what the hell Google want you to be doing as an SEO. That part's not hard. It's the taking action and making it less complex in your brain, because people confuse it and say, nah, it can't be that simple, cannot be that simple. And it is, just take action, put some content out there, build some links, do this, that, and the next thing, get engagement on your website, push it out in social media to try and get more engagement signals, do all of that shit, maybe drive traffic from YouTube. It's, how hard can it be? It's not hard at all. I mean, it's taking action, it's time consuming, it's draining, it's monotonous, it's a lot of those things. But I don't find it monotonous. I enjoy it. I enjoy doing videos, I enjoy doing lots of different things and trying and testing and doing all of that stuff. So I think, for some people, they can get put off easily, but it's the taking action and not, one of the things you said earlier is delving too much into what is Google up to, and also maybe in one part of your brain's going, what's the next thing they're also going to be up to as well, and that's where you start to then become less productive. Just try not to think too far ahead. Do what is working now, and even for me, for an example, and it's not SEO related as such, but I've always known that YouTube's been there for the last, whatever amount of years, and I've not taken action on it. And I'm now taking action on it. It's never too late to take action. I've always known that I didn't have a great YouTube presence and something that I could have potentially done better. If I look at the big boys in the SEO industry, there's guys out there who are absolutely crushing it on YouTube, and I'm not. I'm probably crushing them in terms of speaking gigs and various other bits and bobs. But it all comes down to time and where you choose to put your 20 days a month into. No one is the perfect website. No one is covering all bases. I can't go out and speak, do loads of work, and be on YouTube every day and social media and everything. I can try. I can scale. I can use Teams. I can use automation and try and make it appear that way, which is the key to doing it. Because people say to me, Craig, you're so fucking active online and you're doing this and that. And I'm like, dude, I've got long hair and some of the videos that are going out and I shaved my head on the 24th of April. So people don't realise you're doing this stuff in a smart way. And I think you can work cleverly to be able to achieve and tick as many of those boxes as you can. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Speak at conferences, do my own blog posts, try and be more active in social, try and build a few more projects, do a lot more training. So you can spread yourself fairly far if you think smart about it and do not think about algorithm updates and waste time boring yourself to death with them.
Yeah, I think just as a way to conclude it, really, you just got to think smart, know what works, and just be proactive. Because as long as you remain proactive and you say to yourself, I'm going to do more to improve my website, to get high rankings than everyone else in my industry, then that's the kind of mindset that you want to have, because that should hopefully push you to doing more. And then the more that you do, the more boxes you tick, the more reasons you have for Google to place you higher than another website, then there should be no problems at the end of the day, really.
But it's hard graft, right? It's you just got to get the finger out. You do it. You get a domain name, you go build a website, you go spend time watching webinars, you go and involve yourself in webinars, you go and do this, you go do that. You're taking action, and that will be rewarded one way or another, further down the line. And, you get out what you put in. The more you put in, the more money you're going to make.
I think we need to cut it there. That's literally the way to conclude it. I don't really think, unless you've got anything else to add, Craig.
No, that's it. Just do not panic too much. Take action and do what works. But that is it for episode 12. A big thank you to everyone from Itamar and myself, and we will be back again next week, and we'll catch you then.